Having been missing for 3 years, I unexpectedly ran into my ex-wife at a toy store. She strutted in her 10 centimeters, red-bottomed high heels, her crimson nails brushed against my cheek. You foul Lin Mo not only survived, but also managed to knock someone else up. Right now, the little one in my arms is calling me dad while waving a toy. This one word lit the fuse of his anger. He swiftly signed the acquisition deal for my company. This was a deathly lie born from pride. It turned into my own execution ground. He trapped me in a private villa as if I were his prey. He whispered softly in my ear like the scent of orchids. Since you enjoy playing the role of a father so much, then stick around, and let's have plenty of children. At 3 in the afternoon, the sunlight streamed through the dome of the mall. It created sharp diamond-shaped patterns on the floor. I was hauling 3 stuffed shopping bags. The back of my neck was already slick with a layer of sticky sweat. Ling Rui was like a little wild dog that had escaped its leash, clutching the newly purchased Transformer, darting around in the crowd. The collar of my school uniform had already slipped to my shoulder. Bro, I want that limited edition Gundam. He suddenly stopped in front of the toy store's glass display. His little chubby fingers poked insistently at the glass. I'm the only one in the whole class without it. I rubbed my aching elbow vigorously. This is already the 5th toy I absolutely have to buy today. 3 years after that staged death, I am carrying the new identity of Shenmo. I specifically transferred the old house that my parents left behind to a young Ling Rui who has just started elementary school. I travel 40 kilometers every week to see him. He became the only light in my otherwise meaningless life. Just last month, I bought you a Lego castle. I squatted down and placed the heavy shopping bag on the ground. I put on a stern older brother pose. Ling Rui, you have exceeded your allowance limit. Ling Rui immediately pouted his lips. Tears glistened on her eyelashes like tiny crystals. This trick has been a surefire success for him since he was 5. But Zhang Hao said that only those who scavenge at home can't even buy this toy. He claimed he couldn't even buy this toy. When he lets one rip, it makes my blood boil. He bent down and playfully pinched her soft cheeks. A mischievous thought suddenly crossed my mind. Call me dad to get it, otherwise forget about it. My parents passed away early, so I have to play both the brother and the father. Making a light, ethical joke isn't out of line. Ling Rui truly lacks any backbone. With a joyful shout, she called out Dad. She quickly reached out her tiny hand to grab the toy. You've got some nerve. I smiled helplessly while tousling her hair. I turned around and signaled to the waiter. Could you hand me that toy, please? Just as I was about to reach the packaging box, a familiar chill of fragrance suddenly surged into my nostrils, like a red rose frozen in the snow, carrying a sharp, yet lethal, sweetness. This aroma has ensnared my neck countless times during those late-night hours. The blood throughout my body rushed violently to my head, but in the next moment, it all froze into ice. I turned around with my neck craned, and I crashed straight into a pair of apricot-colored eyes that were frozen over. Suwan was already standing at the entrance of the toy store, wearing a neatly tailored black suit skirt. It wrapped around her exquisite curves. The neckline was perfectly cut, revealing her delicate collarbone. High heels with a striking red sole, standing 10 centimeters tall, treading on the gleaming floor. The heel resembles a sharp knife, prepared to pierce my heart at any time. Yet he only gazed for half a second. I just couldn't handle that overwhelming pressure. I sheepishly looked down, in the way he gazed at me. Besides the brief moment of shock, what lingered was an overwhelming anger. Lin Mokshu's red lips parted slightly. Her voice was wrapped in chilling shards of ice. His eyes darted back and forth between me and Ling Rui. Finally, his gaze fixed on the child's eyes that looked just like mine. So, you are still alive after all. Ling Rui was pushed back by his intimidating presence. He shrank back behind me, gripping my pant leg tightly. My throat felt tight. I forced myself to swallow hard. I tried to calm myself down. Mr. Su has recognized the wrong person. I go by Shen Mo. He gave a faint cold laugh. He slowly walked towards me. Each step echoed with the sound of high heels hitting the ground. Felt like a heavy blow hammering at my nerves. As he arrived in front of me, he tilted his head back slightly. His crimson nails nearly touched the tip of my nose. Lin Mo, I'd recognize you even if you turned to dust. He suddenly pointed at Ling Rui behind him. What is the deal with this kid? Whose kid is this? Which wild woman did you get him from? No, he's my little brother. I quickly spoke up to explain. My heart was pounding so hard it felt like it would break my ribs. Su, and just hear me out. Don't say my name. He cut in sharply. His gaze suddenly became cruel and harsh. 3 years ago, you accidentally died in the open sea. with no remains left. I've been holding out for you for 3 years. Turns out, it wasn't an accident, so it was a couple of cheaters who ran away together. Customers around us stopped and stared. They were pointing and whispering about us. I felt my face burning with embarrassment. I tried to pull her away from this gossip-filled place, but he pushed me away with force. Lin Mo, you're really something else. He advanced another step toward me. The cold fragrance emanating from him crashed over me like a tidal wave. It nearly drowned me. I know that divorce is what I hate the most. He resorts to death to avoid it. Now, he still has the audacity to show up in front of me with the illegitimate child. Is it that he thinks the Su family is easy to bully? It's not what you think. I was so anxious that I broke out in a cold sweat, but his aggressive attitude instantly stirred up my long-suppressed anger. It also instantly ignited my long-suppressed anger. Those memories from 3 years ago rush into my mind like a carousel of images. Late at night, he spoke into the phone with urgency, radiating a dependence he had never revealed to me. The platinum cufflink engraved with an unfamiliar surname beneath the passenger seat. And then, there was that time. She returned home, smelling of a men's perfume that wasn't mine. Since you've already found someone new. I clenched my teeth tightly. My voice quivered uncontrollably. Why do you have to keep bothering me? Su Wan was taken aback. Then he erupted into a series of harsh, cold laughs, laughing until the very end. Tears streamed down her pale face, thudding heavily onto the shiny floor. Lin Mo, you've really gotten good at turning things around. Watching him stubbornly refuse to admit it, I suddenly felt completely drained of energy to argue. I still want to shop with my brother. I placed my hands behind my back. I fidgeted with my fingers in anxiety, but the tone was forced to the coldest limit. Miss Su, feel free to do as you please. I turned to walk away. Suddenly, Su Wan reached out and gripped my wrist tightly. The grip was so tight it felt like it could crush my bones. Lin Mo, you know what I mean. His voice was cold and chilling against my ear. In my marriage there is only widowhood, not divorce. I was taken aback by his sudden craziness. I felt a stabbing pain in my wrist. Ling Rui was so frightened that he burst into tears right there. He ran over, swinging his little fists to hit Su Wan's leg. He shouted desperately, "You can't bully my brother." Su Wan's gaze fell suddenly. It rested on the child's tear-stained face. Upon hearing, "my brother," his eyes revealed a slight easing of rage. Seeing Ling Rui causing more commotion, he gradually let go of my hand. He took his time smoothing out the wrinkles in his skirt. He went back to his lofty and arrogant self. Lin Mo, your good times have come to an end. You know exactly what I am going to do. With that said, he turned on his heel and walked away without a second glance. The bodyguard outside swiftly caught up. The clicking of high heels grew fainter, until it finally vanished at the end of the shopping mall corridor. I felt as if all my energy had been sapped away. I slumped down along the shelf, utterly spent. My shirt is drenched in cold sweat. Hey, who is that pretty aunt? Ling Rui was sniffling and rubbing his tear-stained eyes. She nervously tugged at my shirt and said she was so fierce. I crouched down and held his shoulders tightly. My voice was still shaking uncontrollably. Xiao Rui, can't tell anyone what happened today, especially not to your aunt. Got it. The little guy nodded, seeming to understand. Then he lifted up the transformer in his hand. I was trying to shift my focus. So it is all about the shopping spree. I was rubbing my aching temples in pain. I stopped teasing him. We should head home now. As we stepped out of the toy store, I couldn't help but glance back repeatedly, worried I might run into Su Wan again, around any corner. A figure cloaked in black. The sun outside is still shining brightly. The shopping mall is teeming with people. But deep down, I know very well, my peaceful life is shattered from this moment onward, was completely crushed from this moment on. That possessive, obsessive ex-wife, not only does she know I am alive, what's even worse is that she thinks I cheated on her. This so-called flawless plan of escape. In the end, it all backfired. For the entire week that followed, I was on edge. I feel suspicious and uneasy at work every day. I can't shake the feeling that someone is watching me from behind. I've configured my phone to intercept all unknown numbers. Whenever I go out, I make sure to wear a mask and a baseball cap. I've even begun to frantically calculate whether I should quit right away. Should I just quit and vanish completely? I know Su Wan's methods better than anyone else. Being the sole heir of the Su family, he has been navigating the ruthless business world since childhood. He manages everything with an iron fist at such a young age. A business empire worth hundreds of billions. During the 2 years we were married, to the outside world, she appears as a strong and decisive woman. At home, She is a relaxed and alluring figure, but I am the only one who knows how chilling the obsession lurking beneath her surface is. I once helped a female coworker move a stack of files without thinking. The next day, he froze all my bank accounts. I once drank with a childhood friend until the early morning. The next moment, I saw him bringing people to access the entire surveillance footage. It stood right in front of me. There was even a team-building event at the company once. A female colleague lost a game of truth, or dare, amid the cheers. She gave my cheek a light touch. That afternoon, Suan said it was due to adjustments in overseas business. She immediately sent that female colleague off to Africa. Her love felt like an impenetrable web of steel. It suffocated me. It left me bleeding heavily. But what filled me with the greatest despair and disappointment was her twisted sense of possessiveness seems to know no bounds. Just thinking about the scene from 3 years ago, when she sat in the car with another man, my heart can't help but feel a wave of sourness. Life appears to go on, as usual on the surface. Just when I clung to the hope that our chance encounter at the mall, only when he showed me mercy did I feel relieved. On Wednesday afternoon, the department unexpectedly received a notice. An urgent meeting was convened for all staff members. The director stood on stage, sweating profusely. He dropped a bombshell announcement. Our company was taken over by the CU Group this morning. The new boss just dropped in today. My heart skipped a beat. My blood ran cold. That familiar feeling of dread. That familiar feeling tightened around my heart. The heavy conference room door swung open. My feeling turned out to be right. Suan was dressed in a crisp, white suit. She had her long hair neatly tied up in a bun, exposing a delicate, fair neck. He was followed by a long line of impeccably dressed executives, as he stepped in with his commanding presence. That sense of oppression that comes from holding power for too long. It rendered the entire conference room silent. He headed straight to the main seat and took his place. His icy voice echoed through the venue via the microphone. From today onward, he will take on the role of CEO at Shungshan Technology. He casually scanned the crowd with his gaze. In the end, like a precision-guided missile, his gaze was fixated on me with intensity. Everyone around me gasped in shock. Nobody dared to utter a word. I bowed my head in shame. I wished I could just dig a hole and disappear. Once the meeting was over, I slouched. I was about to sneak away by the wall. Mr. Shen's assistant appeared like a ghost, blocking my path precisely. Mr. Shen's assistant appeared like a ghost, blocking my path precisely. Mr. Su has requested you to go to the CEO's office. The CEO's office, on the top floor, recently renovated with a minimalist luxury style. Beyond the massive, floor-to-ceiling windows, lies the city's towering skyscrapers. Suwan is lounging in a spacious, genuine leather sofa, idly fiddling with a limited edition fountain pen. He lifted his eyelids and gave me a cold glance. I uncomfortably made my way to the single sofa across from him. My palms were clammy with sweat. The marketing department currently needs a manager. He didn't waste a single word and went straight to the point. You couldn't detect a trace of emotional fluctuation in his tone. You've done well in the technical department over the past 6 months. Do you want to give it a shot? I was totally taken aback. Getting promoted is definitely not his style of getting back at Suwan. Please don't call me Wan Wan. He suddenly tightened his grip on the pen. He suddenly erupted in anger. His knuckles turned a frightening shade of white. You jerk. Don't even deserve to say that to me. I was fixated on his raging face. Out of nowhere, I chuckled softly, as if a leaf had blurred my vision. People can never accept what they refuse to believe. I hid my smile away. I just let my eyes drop. I went completely silent. The office was engulfed in an eerie silence. There is a drinking gathering tonight. Despite me asking him to join me, he was the one who lost his composure first. She tossed the fountain pen away. She got up and walked toward me, step by step, that intensely oppressive cold scent. Today, it was mixed with a faint hint of peach fragrance. It was her favorite perfume to use at home. He leaned in, a bit closer to me. The spring light from the collar spilled out unexpectedly. Her icy fingertips brushed lightly over my Adam's apple. Dress a bit more presentably. Don't make me look bad. The sensation is both cold and suggestive. It's like a venomous snake tasting the air. It licks my skin slowly, piece by piece. I'm as rigid as a rock. Thoughts flash through my mind, uncontrollably, back when we were still legally married, during those late nights filled with embarrassing and ridiculous memories. How she arches one eyebrow, even though there's a smile curving on her lips. But her eyes conceal a fiery gaze that seems to burn right through me. Rushing home to be with your wife and kids. I clenched my back teeth tightly. I swallowed all my humiliation with great difficulty. When you are under someone else's roof, you have to lower your head. Ling Rui is about to start junior high, but my meager salary. I really haven't saved up much. Here I am, in this city. I have no grounds to refuse. Su-won. At 7 o'clock, I was wearing the outfit Su-won picked out for me earlier, the custom-made suit delivered by my assistant, standing like a puppet at the revolving door of a five-star hotel. The early autumn evening breeze carried a slight chill. It stirred a wave of unease in my heart. A black stretch Bentley slowly pulled into the driveway. It came to a smooth stop right before me. The car's rear window slid down, revealing Su-won's exquisitely flawless side profile. She wore a wine-red silk slip dress, perfectly accentuating her graceful silhouette. Following closely was the diamond necklace, about the size of a pigeon egg. In the glow of the streetlight, it emitted a blinding cold light. He got into the car without sparing me a glance. His words were brief and to the point, just as the car door closed. Inside the car, the atmosphere was so stifling it felt almost suffocating. I fixed my gaze on the fleeting neon lights of the night outside the window, acting as if I didn't notice him, glancing from the side. Every now and then, sharp glances were thrown my way, and his tie was crooked. Out of the blue, he spoke up. He leaned in close to me. His long, delicate fingers glided smoothly over my neck. He expertly pulled the knot of the tie upwards. His fingertips felt slightly cool to the touch. The instant it made contact with my skin, I jerked my neck back as if shocked by electricity. His hand movement paused. Then, he gave a soft, dismissive chuckle. He pulled his hand back and returned to his seat. "What are you so scared of? That I would eat you?" I kept my head down low. My voice was hoarse, and I was too afraid to speak. She suddenly drew near, once more. Her crimson lips nearly touched my ear, exhaling like an orchid. Yet her voice was as icy as it had been 3 years ago. "How could you sneak out of my sight without me noticing?" I abruptly turned my head. A nameless bitterness welled up in my eyes. The gathering was hosted in the VIP room on the hotel's top floor. I hadn't yet opened that heavy, intricately carved wooden door. Inside, there was a deafening roar of chatter, and the laughter could be heard even through the door. As soon as the waiter opened the door, all 7 or 8 business moguls in the private room turned to look at once. When they saw Su-won walk in, everyone quickly stood up, their faces beaming with smiles to welcome her. "Wow. President Su has finally graced us with her presence." A boss with a big beer belly came forward with a smile. He presented a glass of red wine with both hands. His eyes darted around. In the end, he shamelessly appraised me from head to toe. "Let me introduce my assistant, Shen Mo." Su-won took the wine glass with composure. Her tone was flat, showing no emotion. He was just promoted, so I brought him out to experience the world. I walked behind him, pretending to be composed as I greeted everyone. As the drinks flowed, the atmosphere gradually warmed up. The beer belly boss, under the influence, came over with a raised glass. "Assistant Shen, you seem unfamiliar. Which company did you work for before?" As I was about to come up with a story, Su-won interrupted me. "I was just killing time at a small company back then." He smiled and casually stepped in front of me. "General Manager Wang, whom I took in to help out. If you are interested, how about we talk about the delivery collaboration in the eastern part of the city?" During the whole drinking event, I felt like a puppet being led around by Su-won. He had me pouring drinks for this person and toasting that one. Even when General Manager Wang deliberately made it hard for me to drink, he smiled and said that Shenmo couldn't hold his liquor, so he'd drink this for him. Then he threw his head back and downed the glass of white liquor in one go. Her profile appeared particularly exquisite in the light. The necklines are stunning. There's a breathtaking beauty when the neck moves gracefully. By the end of the show, I was so drunk I could barely stand. Su-won called a driver to take me home. I found myself in the passenger seat. The car was filled with the strong scent of alcohol and his cool fragrance. I leaned back in the back seat, feeling a wave of nausea. He turned to me and handed me a bottle of mineral water. I took the water and remained silent. The atmosphere turned icy. Once again, Linmo fixated on the steering wheel before suddenly breaking the silence. There was a barely noticeable quiver in his voice. "I'm willing to accept, Ling Rui. Could you please give me an explanation? Why did you have to leave 3 years ago?" The alcohol heightened the feelings. All the pent-up grievances suddenly flooded to the surface. "Explain. What exactly do you want me to explain? Explain why you took another man's call in the middle of the night. Explain the cuff I found in your car. You still haven't explained the strange perfume scent on you. You're really putting on a show of deep affection. Didn't you think about this when you were hugging another man? Your marriage is nothing but being a widow, not a divorce. You're full of it." Her voice suddenly turned sharp. "In your eyes, I'm just this kind of person." Once he realized He fell into deep thought again. There was uncertainty in his tone. You mean my cousin? What nonsense about a cousin? Do you think I'll believe that? On top of that, I flailed my fists like a lunatic in front of him. I am fed up with your control. I am tired of being constantly watched by you. I am sick of your unfounded doubts, Su-won. You truly have no idea what love really means, and she was taken aback. Her eyes suddenly teared up. A few seconds passed in silence. She suddenly chuckled to herself. She laughed so much that tears rolled down her cheeks. I see. Now, out of nowhere, she lunged at me and seized my collar. Her crimson nails were nearly digging into my skin. Lin-mo, I will provide you with my clear evidence of innocence. But sorry. I have to ignore what you said next. Lin-mo, your entire life is mine. His face was just inches away from mine. Tears were still clinging to his eyelashes. His eyes were filled with anger, hurt, and a touch of madness I couldn't comprehend. Alcohol impaired the part of the brain that controls rational thinking. He suddenly lifted his head and pressed his lips against mine. I bumped the back of my head against the car window. I felt tears of pain gathering in my eyes. Slowly, I found myself starting to respond. The kiss was filled with the strong smell of alcohol and 3 years of repressed longing. What started as a fierce collision gradually turned tender. She had very soft lips. Her lips carried the rich aroma of red wine. Like poppies, it was addictive. He extended his hand and pulled me into his embrace. I didn't resist. Instead, I embraced him by wrapping my arms around his neck. This made the kiss even deeper. The temperature inside the carriage shot up suddenly. Our breaths tangled together. The ambiguity was suffocating. I lost track of time before we finally gasped for air and pulled away. She rested her head against my chest, her cheeks rosy and her eyes dreamy. I noticed the reddening corners of his eyes. Suddenly, a powerful emotion surged within me. Su-won, I whispered softly. I was waiting for you to explain yourself, but he fell silent. He simply buried his face even deeper. The driver parked the car beneath Su-won's penthouse. I stepped into the elevator next to her, watching the numbers climb higher and higher. I felt anxious and uneasy. I opened the door to the apartment. A familiar aroma enveloped me. The decor here hasn't changed at all from 3 years ago. My favorite lazy sofa is still right where it used to be. Su-won tossed aside her high heels. She stepped barefoot on the carpet. She took a seat on the sofa. Have you been doing well these past 3 years? She leaned back. Casually, she looked me over from head to toe, making me feel flustered. I just mumbled that. I got a job. Sometimes, I check in on my brother. You really haven't found a girlfriend? She quirked an eyebrow. I said it without a second thought, and she smiled. She looked like she believed it somewhat. He didn't ask any further questions. We were silently sipping wine. The atmosphere was a bit awkward, yet ambiguous. The so-called evidence you talked about. She suddenly spoke softly. That really was my brother back then. She is currently on a business trip in France. I was taken aback when she said my mom had a sudden heart attack. She kept talking about the cufflinks in the car. They dropped out of the suit I was planning to gift her. I wanted to find it back then, but I couldn't. He let out a scoff. There was a hint of loneliness in his eyes. I didn't think you would take it. The scent of that perfume is my brother's. He interrupted me. He gave a quick explanation. I picked him up at the airport on the day he returned home. He hugged me. All the misunderstandings fell apart, like a line of dominoes in an instant. I stood there, dazed and confused. My throat felt tight, and I couldn't find my voice. It turns out the reason that kept me going for the past 3 years was merely a misunderstanding. So why didn't you just tell me? My voice shook with emotion. Did you even give me a chance? He gazed at me. His eyes were full of fatigue. You vanished without saying a word. I scoured the whole city and still couldn't locate you. Then I got a call from the police informing me that you were missing in international waters. She was choked with emotion and couldn't go on. Tears fell like pearls from a broken string. It felt like something was tugging at my heart, causing sharp pain. I stepped forward, clumsily, and extended my hand. I pulled her into my arms. She felt so soft in my embrace. She shivered gently in my embrace. It was only at this moment that she would open up. The feeling of vulnerability in women. I am sorry for repeating myself again and again. I am sorry. Juan. She didn't put up any resistance. She allowed me to hold her. She wept in my embrace for quite a while. We had a long conversation that night. We discussed the misunderstanding from 3 years ago. We talked about our lives in the past 3 years. She mentioned that she was doing fine since I passed away. I shut myself in at home for 3 months. I've lost over 10 pounds. She claimed to hate me for leaving without a word, yet she finds herself thinking of me every night. She even mentioned she had made plans. Even if it meant fighting with that imaginary wife, she was determined to win me back. Alcohol and guilt mixed together. The mood became naturally charged. We were just like so many nights before. They embraced as they walked into the bedroom. The moonlight gently spills in through the large window. It lights up her delicate collarbone and flowing curves. She tiptoes to kiss me, our tongues intertwining. With 3 years of suppressed longing behind her, she gently unbuttons my shirt. Her fingertips glide smoothly over my skin. I embrace her, feeling the burning heat. I feel her soft body and her rapid heartbeat. All my rationality crumbles at this moment. Lin Mo, the whispers in my ear, are enticing. Please don't leave me again. I give a slight nod. I lean down to kiss her lips. That night, it felt like we were trying to make up for the 3 years we lost. We were immersed in tenderness as if trying to catch up on all the lost time. In my arms, she sometimes feels like a gentle little kitten, and at other times, like a fierce little wildcat. She seeks my love, and she also gives it in return. The next morning, I even felt a bit of pain in my lower back. Suwan is still asleep, breathing steadily. I gazed at her peaceful, sleeping face. My heart is overwhelmed with tenderness and guilt. I quietly got up and got dressed. I placed a gentle kiss on her forehead. Then, I tiptoed out of the apartment. When I returned home, Ling Rui was still asleep. I had just cooked a bowl of noodles for her. Just then, I got a call from Suwan. Why did you sneak away without saying goodbye? His voice had that sleepy, lazy quality that comes with just waking up. I can't let my little brother head to school, hungry, so when are you coming to the office? I'll be waiting for you at the office. She hesitated for a moment. Then her voice turned soft. Don't forget to wear the suit I got for you. I was taken aback for a second before I recalled. Last night, she packed a new suit into my bag. After I hung up, I glanced at myself in the mirror. I couldn't resist smiling. Maybe we can truly have a fresh start. The looks my colleagues give me when I get to the office, filled with ambiguity and curiosity. I acted like I didn't see. I headed straight to Suwan's office. Just as I got to the door, I spotted someone. A girl wearing a pink dress came out from inside. The girl seemed to be in her early 20s. She appeared charming and adorable. She brightened up when she saw me. You are Shen Mo. She smiled and spoke. Her voice was sweet. I'm Bai Weiwei. I'm from Xinhua Group, and I'll be interning at your company, so I look forward to your guidance. I nodded, not paying much attention. I opened the door and walked into the office. Suwan was seated at her desk, looking over some documents. When she saw me enter, she looked up and smiled, saying, You're here. I approached her. The one from earlier is the daughter of Xinhua Group, he said casually. It is about experiencing life. Since our dads are old friends, it is tough to say no. I didn't think much of it. I was updating him on my work. Just when I finished my update and was about to leave, she called me to stop. During dinner, she asked how I was doing. I smiled and said yes. I arrived at the restaurant we agreed on, right on time at 6. I hadn't been sitting there for long. There was Bai Weiwei entering, wrapped around the arm of a middle-aged man. The man smiled and waved at me. Look, Assistant Shen is here too. What a coincidence. It is General Manager Wang from the drinking party the other day. I forced a smile. Bai Weiwei took a seat across from me. She smiled and said, What a coincidence, Assistant Shen. You're here to eat too. I said I had plans with friends and asked whether it was a guy or a girl. She asked curiously, A girl? He drew out his tone and made a funny face. Is she your girlfriend? I was just about to explain when I saw Suwan standing not far away. She looked at us with a pale face. Her high heels clacked loudly. As she walked straight to my side. I knew at a glance that her old problem had flared up again. Suwan. I hurriedly grabbed her wrist. I lowered my voice to say, Listen to me. It is not what you think. It is not like that. He shook off my hand. His eyes are icy cold. You've gotten involved with him. I was so anxious that I was sweating on my forehead. He arrived with Mr. Wang. I just bumped into a colleague. He coldly sneered and tugged at my ear. Your previous colleague has gotten so tanned in Africa. She didn't smile at all. During the meal, after the meal, she just turned and walked away. I looked at her determined figure, leaving. A sense of helplessness washed over me. Bai Weiwei definitely seems like a kid from a rich family. It looks like Suwan won't be able to send her to Africa for her training. In the days that followed, Suwan was unusually distant with me. She stopped inviting me to her office. She stopped hanging out with me alone. Even when we ran into each other at the office, she would just give a faint nod, but I could sense that she was secretly keeping an eye on me. Whenever I talked to Bai Weiwei, I could always feel that cold stare behind me. There are times when I unashamedly pester Suwon. I just want to smooth things over between us. But all I end up with is back pain and soreness. The following day, nothing really changed. Even more frustrating is that Bai Weiwei doesn't seem to notice anything is off. Instead, she has totally become dependent on me. It feels like she's looking for me every single day. At times, she brings me afternoon tea. Sometimes, she makes up an excuse to consult me about something. I've tried several times to keep my distance from her. He always seems to have some valid excuse to show up in front of me. The worst part is that every time we bump into each other, we always get caught by Suwon. I worked late on Friday night. The moment I stepped out of the office, I saw Bai Weiwei standing under the streetlight, waiting for me. She was dressed in a white dress, looking quite pitiful. When Assistant Shen saw me, she smiled and ran over. My car broke down. Can you give me a ride home? I was just about to say no. I noticed Suwon's car, parked nearby. He was sitting in the car, staring at us with a blank expression. Sorry, I have to take care of something, I said, forcing a smile. Please, Bai Weiwei pleaded, grabbing my arm and shaking it. It is late, and I don't feel safe being out here alone as a girl. Her voice was just the right volume, just loud enough for Suwon in the car to hear. I noticed Suwon's expression darken even more. Her fingers on the steering wheel turned pale from the tension. All right. I clenched my teeth and said yes. I mentally scolded Bai Weiwei 1,000 times. I had just pushed Bai Weiwei into the taxi. Suwon's car suddenly sped over and halted in front of me. He rolled down the window and said coldly to get in. I hesitated. For a moment, I still opened the door and got in. The atmosphere in the car was so suffocating. He drove in silence, aimlessly wandering through the city. Please allow me to explain. Be quiet, she said coldly. I wisely shut my mouth. I felt anxious and restless. The car came to a stop in front of a secluded villa. The surroundings were dark, creating a spooky and frightening atmosphere. Get out of the car, he ordered. I stepped out of the car with trepidation. I observed as he opened the door to the villa. Inside was pitch black. Go inside, he said, pointing. Suwon, this is why I wanted you to go in. He raised his voice, a crazed look in his eyes. I didn't dare to defy him. I took a deep breath and walked inside. Just as I stepped over the threshold, I felt a tight grip on my wrist. He bound me with a rope. Suwon, what are you doing? I was in a panic. He switched on the flashlight on his phone. The light illuminated one side of her face, leaving the other side in shadow. It seems especially strange. I didn't betray you, I quickly explained. It's all just a misunderstanding. I trust you. She gave a cold sneer, but I didn't believe them. Suwon lifted her hand, her nails a bright crimson, gently brushing against the veins in my neck. She appeared dazed, her soft palm slowly enveloping my whole neck. Lin Mo, you belong to me. Only me. No one can snatch you away. Suwon is surprisingly strong. I could hardly breathe as she choked me. My face flushed red just as I felt like I was about to choke. He suddenly let go and murmured. I am sorry, she murmured, a flicker of panic flashing in her eyes. Then, madness took over. But I really can't afford to lose you. Lin Mo, I truly can't bear to lose you. He leaned down and captured my lips in a kiss. This kiss was steeped in despair and madness. It nearly engulfed me. I tried to push him away, in vain, but he had me bound tightly. Don't touch me, I yelled. He paid me no mind and kept kissing me. His hands began to unbutton my shirt. As his icy fingertips glided over my skin, I shivered as if I had been shocked. Suwon, you've lost it, and I've lost it too. He lifted his gaze, eyes brimming with madness. I've been insane since the moment you vanished. Lin Mo, how dare you come back and stir things up with me? There will be a price to pay. Her kiss trailed down my collarbone, leaving behind ambiguous red marks. I struggled and swore, but he kept up his madness as if he hadn't heard a thing. That night, I felt like a puppet, letting him control me. He unleashed his anger on me, at times gentle, at times wild. I shut my eyes, trying not to look at him, but my body's reactions were undeniable. When I woke up the next day, I realized I was locked in a windowless room. There was just a bed and a bathroom in the room. The walls were a cold, concrete gray. Suwon entered with breakfast. She smiled when she saw I was awake. Her smile was gentle and weary, a stark contrast to last night. You're awake. Are you hungry? I turned away and ignored her, hoping she wouldn't be upset. She approached me. He tried to touch my face, but I avoided him. His eyes dimmed a bit, but he didn't seem angry. I know. You despise me, but I can't help it. I am scared. You'll escape again. I worry. You'll go after another woman. This is illegal confinement. I said it coldly. I know, she couldn't care less. As long as I can have you with me, nothing really matters. I stared into his wild eyes. A chill ran through my heart. This woman has been away from me for 3 years. She has completely lost her mind. Over the next few days, I was shut away in this small dark room, cut off from the world. He visits me every day. He brings me something to eat and drink. Then he torments my body and mind in all sorts of ways. There are times when she softly embraces me and shares stories from the past with me. At times, she would unexpectedly explode in anger. She asks me if I am still thinking about Bai Weiwei. I make an effort to talk to her, to clarify that Bai Weiwei and I are merely colleagues, and that I truly love her. But the condition is that she shouldn't treat me this way. However, she didn't listen to me at all. Do you really think I'd believe that? She scoffed. That woman looks at you with a certain look in her eyes. I just want to devour you completely. Lin Mo, don't even think about tricking me. I am slowly losing hope. I began a hunger strike as a form of protest. He notices I am not eating or drinking. He is worried to the point of tears. Yet he still won't let me go. Are you trying to drive me crazy? I weakly said I didn't want to. And he quickly replied, I just want you to be with me. Lin Mo, just be good and do as I say. I'll treat you well, like I did before. I don't want your kind of goodness. I yelled that I want my freedom. Su Wan, please let me go. I don't want to spend my life with a madman. And he was taken aback. Then he lunged at me like a crazy person. He held me tight, and I wouldn't let go, not even in death. You are mine. You belong to me for this lifetime. Just when I was about to go crazy because of him, suddenly, the door was kicked open. Bai Weiwei stormed in with a bunch of bodyguards. She gasped at the sight before her. Su Wan, you've gone too far. Su Wan noticed their faces turning pale. Bai Weiwei's bodyguards quickly moved in. They untied the ropes from me. Are you okay? Bai Weiwei held me up, her face filled with concern. I'm fine, I said weakly. Su Wan, you've illegally detained me. I've already called the police, Bai Weiwei said, coldly. Su Wan was staring at me. His gaze was filled with despair and rage. Just then, his phone started ringing. He picked up the phone. I had no idea what the other person said. His expression became more and more unpleasant. Finally, he shot me a fierce glare. Then he turned around and walked away. I questioned in confusion. My dad got in touch with his dad. Bai Weiwei explained, even though the Su family wields significant power. But our Xinhua group is also not to be underestimated. A wave of fear washed over me. I also felt somewhat grateful. I never expected that it was actually him who saved me in the end. After being rescued, I came down with a serious illness. As I lay in the hospital, I stared at the ceiling. I was overwhelmed with mixed emotions. I felt a mix of fear and disgust towards Su Wan. Yet, I can't help but remember her hopeless gaze, and I can't help but feel heartache. Bai Wei frequently visits me. She brings me all kinds of supplements and checks on me. I realize she has feelings for me, yet, my heart only holds Su Wan, even if that love is fraught with pain and suffering. Assistant Shen, stop thinking about Su Wan. Bai Weiwei softly said, while sitting beside my bed. She doesn't love you. Not even a bit. I only saw you as something I owned. That is why I kept quiet. Suddenly she said, let's be together. I promise. I will treat you well. I was taken aback. I won't hurt you like she did. I simply shook my head. I am sorry, but someone already occupies my heart. Bai Weiwei's face fell, and she fell silent. Once I got out of the hospital, I quit my job. I switched to a new phone number. I relocated to a place where Su Wan couldn't track me down. I want to totally free myself from it. Begin a new life. However, I underestimated Su Wan's capabilities. Before long, I realized I was being stalked. No matter if I went to the supermarket or the park, I could always sense that familiar gaze watching me from behind. I knew it was Su Wan. For sure, she was lurking around me like a ghost. She neither disturbed me nor left. I felt very torn inside. On one hand, I am scared of his craziness. I want to keep my distance from him. On the other hand, I can't stop reminiscing. So many wild nights, and the way she looked at me with love. Bai Weiwei is still relentlessly pursuing me. She frequently comes up with excuses to get me out. I keep turning her down, but she acts like she hasn't heard a thing. Still, she goes about her own way. What's even more troublesome is Bai Weiwei's admirers. He is starting to pick on me. This guy is a wealthy kid named Zhao Yu. He relies on his wealthy and influential family. He has blocked me several times on my way home from work. He threatened me to keep my distance from Bai Weiwei. If he has any sense, he should just get lost. Zhao Yu looked arrogant with a cigarette in his mouth. Wei Wei is not someone you can mess with. I didn't want to deal with him and just turned to leave. I didn't expect she would still be holding a grudge. That day was a weekend. I brought Ling Rui to the park for some fun. The little guy has recently fallen in love with skateboarding. He kept bugging me to learn. I helped him practice slowly in the park. It was sunny, and the park was bustling with people, creating a peaceful atmosphere, just as Ling Rui finally managed to skate a little on his own. An unexpected incident happened as he ran excitedly towards me. Zhao Yu suddenly burst out from the bushes next to us, holding a knife and charging directly at me. His gaze was frantic as he yelled, "It is all your fault because of you. I can't stand Wei Wei because you are such a pathetic loser. He even expects me to walk away from you. He wants to ruin my family financially." I felt a tightness in my chest. I instinctively tried to shield Ling Rui behind me, but it was already too late to do anything. The knife had already lunged towards me. I shut my eyes, convinced I was going to die for sure this time. The pain I anticipated never arrived. I opened my eyes and saw Su Wan blocking my way. The knife plunged into his back. Blood quickly soaked her white shirt, like a blossoming red plum. I exclaimed and ran over. Zhao Yun was taken aback as well. He probably didn't expect anyone to suddenly jump in to block the knife. The people around quickly reacted and rushed in to restrain him. "Are you okay?" I held Su Wan in my arms. She collapsed gently into my embrace. Her face was ghostly pale, and her lips had turned a shade of purple. She looked at me with a faint smile, assuring me that she was okay. "Don't say anything." I was so worried that tears streamed down my face. Cradling her, I yelled to the people nearby, "Quick, call an ambulance. Hurry up." It arrived swiftly. They lifted Su Wan into the vehicle. I carried Ling Rui and climbed into the vehicle as well. The little one was terrified. She clung to my neck, sobbing quietly. I gently patted her back to soothe her, yet my gaze kept drifting back to Su Wan. I observed him, grimacing in pain. I gazed at her ashen face. My heart felt like it was being sliced open. This woman has a tendency to show her love in the most dramatic ways. The doctor mentioned that the cut was quite deep. It nearly hit a critical area. Luckily, it arrived just in time. When Su Wan opened her eyes, the first sight she caught was me. He tried to speak, but his voice came out hoarse. I grasped her hand. Her hand felt icy. "Where is Lin Rui?" she asked. "I had a friend pick him up." "Don't worry," I assured her. "Close your eyes and then open them." Looking at me, "Lin Mo, I am sorry. Since you left me, I've been losing my mind. I sought help from a psychologist. I've already undergone treatment. You no longer hold it against me." His words became so excited when he saw me that he lost all logical reasoning. He spoke in disconnected fragments, jumping from one thing to another. But in the end, he just wanted me to pay attention to it. It resembled a large dog. It gripped my hand tightly. I suddenly felt a pang of heartache and shook my head. No longer blaming. "I am sorry." Tears streamed down her face. "I shouldn't have kept you locked away. I shouldn't." I interrupted her, gently wiping her tears with my fingertip. "Take care of your injury." She looked at me. There was a mix of emotions in his gaze. He finally nodded. And from then on, I went to the hospital daily to look after her, help her clean up, and feed her. I stayed with her, and we had many conversations. We discussed past misunderstandings. We discussed our plans for the future. He wasn't as strong-willed as he used to be. He has calmed down a lot compared to before. He has turned out to be much gentler. Maybe it was because of the brush with life and death. He has figured out a lot of things now. "I used to be too stubborn," she softly said. "I always believed that if I kept you by my side, you wouldn't leave me. I see that now. Love isn't about being comrades in arms." I took his hand. "I know you didn't do it on purpose. So what about you?" She hesitated before asking, "Do you still want to be with me?" I chuckled at his anxious look. "Just give me some time." She nodded and didn't press for more. Bai Weiwei came to see Su Wan once. She dropped off a bouquet of flowers and just walked away. She barely said a word to me. I'm aware of that little episode between us. It's time for it to end. The sun was shining brightly on the day. Su Wan was discharged, and I went to pick her up. She was dressed casually, her long hair cascading over her shoulders. She seemed to be in much better spirits and smiled when she saw me. Her smile shines like the sun after a rain shower. It is warm and bright. "Let's head out." I took the bag from her and held it. I took her hand. Her hand quivered a little. Then, she held my hand tightly. We didn't go back to her place. We also didn't go to my place. Instead, we headed to the beach we often used to visit. The sea breeze blew softly. It had a bit of a salty flavor. We were sitting on the beach. We watched the waves crashing against the rocks in the distance. Lin Mo rested his head on my shoulder and whispered, I realize I've done a lot of wrong things that hurt you before. I can't expect you to forgive me right away, but I'll make an effort to change. I believe in you. I gazed at him and said earnestly. She looked up, her eyes shining bright. I smiled and said, really, really. But if you ever lock me in that small dark room again, I'll never do that again, he quickly promised, like a child caught in the act. I promise. I couldn't help but chuckle. I bent down and gave her a kiss on the forehead. As the sun set, our shadows grew long. I took her hand and strolled along the beach. The waves would occasionally splash up to wet our pant legs. Oh, I just remembered something all of a sudden. The mix-up at the toy store. You still owe me an apology. Why do I need to apologize? He arched an eyebrow. Who would have imagined you'd do that? You know what kind of joke your brother is making. Over the past few years, I've played both dad and mom, I said, feeling wronged. He let out a soft snort. He suddenly stopped, turned around, and wrapped his arms around me, whispering softly like orchids in my ear. But seeing how good you are, I can make it up to you in other ways. His kiss descended upon me, carrying the salty flavor of the sea breeze and the essence of sunlight. I embraced her tightly in reply. Seagulls in the distance soared in the sky, chirping joyfully. Sunlight enveloped us, warm and lovely. I understand that our future won't always be smooth. Maybe there will be quarrels and misunderstandings. But as long as we hold each other in our hearts, if we are willing to trust each other, we can surely overcome any challenges. Once my younger brother finishes shopping, my possessive ex-wife finds out I am alive. This reunion that seems ridiculous, actually, reunited us. Maybe this is destiny.